Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm JJ Bain, joined now by SVSU cross-country coach Tony Philippek. Tony, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
And first of all, let's give people kind of an update to where the team has been at this point. You've had 3 meets thus far, and including one where I think both the men and the women came out on top.
That's correct. We started off in CMU, and then we went to MSU, 2 pretty competitive meets with some Division I teams there. We got the rust out in those meets, worked on some team strategy, and then we went over to Lansing, a small invitational, mostly community college teams there for the most part. But it was a huge confidence booster at this point in the season, about midway, 3 weeks from conference. It was a huge confidence booster to go in there and get the W's on the women's side and also on the men's side.
And I want to pick up on something you mentioned. You talked about strategy, because a lot of times people think about cross country. They don't think there's any strategy involved. You just go out and run as fast as you can for a long distance. But I know that strategy is definitely a part of it.
Yes, I'll start off with the women's side right now. Our strategy on the women's side is for the majority of the girls to stick together in a group for at least the first mile. Their race is a 5K or a 6K. 6K at conferences and regionals and nationals, but they run quite a bit of 5Ks. But for the first mile out of the 3 or 3.75, if you're talking about the 6K, we try to get the group to stay as close as possible. After that, our 2 killers are our 2 big runners. You've got Emily Short and Lauren Hill. We want them to go for it at that point, to really go for it. And for the veterans of the second group, to hold that second group together and finish as close as possible. Now on the guys' side, we don't want anybody to really get too carried away the first mile in. They have a 5-mile race for their 8K, so we try to keep them as tightly packed through all the way through to mile 3. After that, we can really start. Whoever's really feeling good that day can go for it, and the others can go with them and stay as close as possible. But on the guy side, there's anywhere from 5 to 7 guys that could be that top guy, and that's kind of the strategy involved. And we have to also communicate throughout the races.
Because distance running really is kind of a science unto itself in terms of trying to figure out how you're going to be able to run your best time, but also make sure that you do finish well as a group. Because if you have somebody go out and post a good time, but then everybody else is at the back of the pack, that's not going to help your team result.
Correct. And the way we're going to beat teams this year, the way we're going to beat teams that we're really not supposed to beat is that type of running. Is to really stay very close as a unit and communicate with each other and push all the way through to the end, to get those the end scores down. As you know, we need to as an overall team, we need a lower score to be victorious. As if the higher you are, the worst overall team position you are.
You had a very successful career yourself here as an SVSU student athlete. Give people some insight into what it takes in terms of the training required to be successful at this level.
Well, there's a jump from high school to college. There's definitely a transition coming in as a freshman. But as a college competitor, the intensity really picks up. The intensity picks up a whole lot. And then you need to have the ability to transition to that, to find the balance from school and athletics and be able to handle that new added intensity and just really have a positive attitude in an environment that you might not be used to. And those are, if you're able to do that, the athletes that are able to do that are the ones that are very, very successful.
Well, hopefully we continue to enjoy some success. I know you have some big meets coming up. Tony Philippek, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we'll be rejoined by SVSU football coach Jim Collins. That's next on SVSU Red Alert.